My husband and I and a couple of our kids went to an escape room for the first time a while back. If you don't know what an escape room is, there are usually 3 or 4 rooms you can choose from. You're given a scenario and then you have 1 hour to escape. We chose the fire escape room, and here was our scenario. The smell of smoke causes you and your family to evacuate your home. While outside, your father tells you his precious family heirlooms are going to be destroyed. Without thinking twice, you tap into your hero instincts and rush back into the house. Can you find all the items and escape before time runs out? There was a list of about 18 items on the wall for us to look for. Now, we had no idea at all what this is going to look like. I can't give away any details, but I can tell you that the small room we were in was very sparsely furnished. A bed, a couple of dressers, a few pictures on the wall. At first glance, we thought, what on earth? What are we even looking for? None of the items on the list were in plain sight. So we started opening drawers and looking behind things and under things, searching for anything that might give us a clue. We started telling each other random things we were seeing, not knowing if they meant anything or not. We were told that if we got stuck, we could call down to the desk 2 times and they'd give us a clue. After about 20 minutes of finding nothing, we decided we better ask. And the voice on the other line said, "Did you find the such and such item?" and told us where to look for it. Suddenly calling attention to that item made us see how the clues fit together, and it got us going. Now we understood what we were looking for, and it started getting exciting as we scrambled to look for hidden clues and solved puzzles, and there were all kinds of surprises along the way. We finally got down to the last 5 minutes with 1 more heirloom to find. We had collected several pieces of puzzles that didn't seem to make any sense and didn't seem to fit together, and we thought, oh darn, after all that, we're not going to get out in time. We didn't think there was a single square inch that we hadn't searched. Then my husband said, guys, did any of you look here? And he held up an item that suddenly brought all the clues together. We frantically worked a combination and got out of the room with 1 minute to spare. It was exhilarating. We were elated. We kept saying, "We did it! We did it!" Afterwards, we went to dinner and we kept reliving how the clues came together and how we solved the puzzles and all the unexpected surprises. We could hardly wait to do it again. Now, let's revisit the escape room curriculum style. First of all, you're not there by choice. Someone has compelled you to be there. You are usually not even given the reason why you're in the room. Rather, you're handed a stack of tasks to be completed before the hour is over, and if you don't, you can't go out and play. So, the fire escape room, curriculum style, might look like this. Open the 3rd drawer down in the dresser. You will find a locked box. Here is the combination to the box. When you open it, there is another assignment inside. And now imagine reporting to the same room day after day with a new stack of tasks to be completed. True, no child will be left behind. They will probably all eventually get out of the room. But at what cost? I guarantee there would be no escape room franchises. Who would go back? There would be no thrill. But isn't that what learning by curriculum looks like? Every day we give our children a list of tasks to be completed. Define this word, spell that word, answer this question, read this chapter in this textbook, and tomorrow we'll do it again, and the next day, and the next day. How many children do you hear out in the backyard saying, "That was so cool when we copied the definition of refraction. I can hardly wait to get tested on it." Designers of curriculum have already made all the connections. They have solved all the puzzles. Your job is to simply complete the tasks they give you. There is little room for aha moments when pieces come together. There are few Archimedes in the bathtub moments where he shouted Eureka when he figured out a problem he had been working on. In stark contrast to the curriculum approach, we are designed and hardwired to learn by exploration and discovery. It's finding the clues and the patterns and making the connections for ourselves that keep us coming back for more. Does it help if I remind you This is God's method of learning He uses with us. He created a beautiful world and loaded it with endless clues, but He has never assigned and compelled His children. His instructions are simply seek, ask, knock. If you need a clue, just ask. It didn't bother Him that it took us nearly 6,000 years to discover electricity and put it to good use. It's been there the whole time. I find it telling that God waits for us to ask. He knows unless we're asking, we won't know what to do with the answer when it comes. I can only imagine how much He wishes we would ask more. God knows to not allow the freedom to explore and discover in our process of learning would be to deny us one of our greatest joys. As Dr. Alan Stockdale wrote, God gave to man the challenge of raw materials, not the ease of finished things. He left pictures unpainted, music unsung, problems unsolved, that man might know the joys and glories of creation. The process of creation is to take matter unorganized and organize it into new ways. In our escape room, we organized pieces of information into a usefulness, and it was thrilling. Think of all the music that has been created from just 8 notes on a scale, all the art that has been painted from 3 primary colors, and all the works of literature written using 26 letters of an alphabet. And think of all that has yet to be created. What a tragedy that we train our children to wait for instructions, that we rarely give them a chance to explore or discover something that excites them. Our finish the tasks we assign mentality is turning out generations of students who want nothing to do with learning once they have a diploma in hand. And many other students don't care enough about the diploma to even earn that. Granted, there is risk involved. We checked and only about 30% make it out of the fire escape room on the first try. God knows the risk is worth it. Yet we're reluctant to let go. We think that without force and pressure, without compulsory education, our children won't learn. It simply isn't true. Let me allow a couple of my friends to voice their opinions. The need for perpetual telling is the result of our stupidity, not of the child's. We drag him away from the facts in which he is interested and which he is actively assimilating of himself, put before him facts far too complex for him to understand and therefore distasteful to him. Finding that he will not voluntarily acquire these facts, we thrust them into his mind by force of threats and punishment. By thus denying the knowledge he craves and cramming him with knowledge he cannot digest, we produce a morbid state of his faculties and a consequent disgust for knowledge in general. And when, as a result partly of the stolid indifference we have brought on, and partly of still continued unfitness in its studies, the child can understand nothing without explanation, and becomes a mere passive recipient of our instruction, we infer that education must necessarily be carried on thus. Having by our method induced helplessness, we straightway make the helplessness a reason for our method. Heinrich Pestalozzi condemned words crammed into sleeping powers. He said, "The power and experience both are great at young ages, but our schools are essentially only artificial stifling machines for destroying all the result of the power and experience that nature herself brings to life in them. You know it, my friend. But for a moment picture to yourself the horror of this murder. We leave children up to their 5th year in the full enjoyment of nature. Let every impression of nature work upon them. They feel their power. They already know full well the joy of unrestrained liberty and all its charms. And after they have enjoyed this happiness of sensuous life for 5 whole years, we make all nature round them vanish from before their eyes, tyrannically stop the delightful course of unrestrained freedom, pen them up like sheep, whole flocks huddled together, pitilessly chain them for hours, days, weeks, months, years, to the contemplation of unattractive and monotonous letters, and, contrasted with her former condition, to a maddening course of life. Friend, tell me, can the sword that severs the neck and sends the criminal from life to death have more effect upon his body than this change from the beautiful guidance of nature to the mean and miserable school course has upon the souls of children? Close quote. Plato understood the need for freedom in learning over 2,000 years ago. Knowledge which is acquired under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. Leonardo da Vinci knew it too. He said study without desire spoils the memory, and it retains nothing it takes in. As a wise man said, a child is ready to learn when a child is ready to learn, not when we are ready to teach him. One more quote. Forcing is of no avail. It has to come through naturally, and the function of the teacher is to awaken, not to instruct. You cannot force children to learn anything, but you can so present a thing to them that you will rouse their interest and cause them to undertake the subject of their own free will. At first they may seem uninterested, but give them a chance to act on their own impulse. Have faith in the child and his unerring feeling for beauty and truth, and this will pass. Close quote. I encourage you to let go of the job of taskmaster and embrace the fun of learning the way we were divinely designed to learn. Your job is to set up the rooms of discovery. Then let go and trust the process.